Hey, Forrest here. Nothing like getting paid. And with ICCU's mobile app, I can deposit checks or accept Zelle payments so the money hits my account fast. I just wish there was an app for mowing the rest of these lawns.
Right now, Lithia Ford of Boise is buying used vehicles. How much you want for the SUV?
I don't know.
Well, Lithia Ford will give you more than that.
How much more?
More than you think.
I'm not thinking anything.
I'm thinking you might get even more than that. See how much more you can get at Lithia Ford of Boise.
When it comes to concrete, we've got you covered. RowPaint.com offers custom concrete coating services for your garage, business, warehouse, and more. And we do it in one day. We are your complete concrete coatings solution.
This is Bronco Nation News Live. The best interviews, the most informed opinions, the latest breaking news, all from the top Boise State insiders. Joining BJ Rains today is KTVB Sports Director Jay Tust. Check him out on Twitter at KTVB Sports Guy and make sure to check out KTVB.com. Now here's Jay Tust and BJ Rains with another edition of Bronco Nation News Live.
Well, greetings, Boise State fans. Sorry we are a little delayed. Had some internet issues, but we got it figured out, and appreciate Jay for hanging through that. But we are here for a Friday edition of Bronco Nation News Live. BJ Rains and Jay Tust with you, and had to figure out to get on even for 15, 20 minutes today, obviously, with the Monster game coming up tonight. But Jay, I've had some cool locations for the show before, and this will be one of the better ones probably. Although, speaking of cool, it actually is a little colder than you'd think for San Diego. I got a sweatshirt on, but sorry if you're jealous of the backdrop here, man.
Yeah, I'm just kind of hoping that you accidentally scooch too far back on whatever perch you're on and fall into the pool. I'd make for some good. I'd probably make for some good views after this, I'm going to guess.
It might. I am at the team hotel, by the way, so some of the coaches and players are strolling by me going for breakfast. And no, I have not seen, and I'm not just saying this, but I have not seen either of the two guys, and I'm not sure, frankly, what they would want me to say, to be honest, if they did come walking by. So I'll have to toe that line, I guess. But that's kind of the big storyline tonight, Jay, right off the bat. And it's unfortunate, when you think about Boise State and what they've done and how big this game is, to maybe be without two of their starters and two of their better players. We'll see. And even if they both do play, you doubt they're at 100%. So it's a little bit of a bummer either way going into this game.
Yeah, that's a huge bummer. And, Boise State is also really, really close to a little bit of a break in their schedule, because after this game, they don't play again until Saturday, right? And after that, they don't play again until Wednesday. And in the college basketball world, to basically have, one game in a 10, 11-day window, that's a lot of downtime. So considering that their last game was Tuesday, I don't know how you approach it. You can't afford to rest those guys, because you absolutely need them tonight, unless they have to miss the game due to an injury. But they're so close to having a little bit of a break where they could give those guys a few days off to maybe get a little healthier. Naj was kind of a little bit more of the surprise one, because he had been seemingly pretty healthy. And then obviously what happened at Air Force, he missed the rest of the game after only playing 11 minutes. Shaver this is just kind of the script for him, right? Like, he's always kind of just battling something. And you were there, BJ. It looked like he's wincing pretty bad, came off.
Yeah.
But it's not like it's something we haven't necessarily seen before, right?
No, it was one of those non-contact ones, which kind of scares you a little bit in terms of the knee. Obviously, you're hoping it's something serious with the knee, and if it's just a tweaked knee, we'll see. Shavers that was, you're right about that. But he had a huge ice pack / some sort of brace underneath his sweatpants, and he was kind of limping walking off the court, but he might have just been limping because he had, a huge brace on his leg that didn't make it possible to walk straight. I don't know. And then Shaver, I didn't tweet the video out. I should have, but I have video. After the game, he was back on the end of the game. They were working on his ankle back in the tunnel. The locker room is on the other side of the court, and he needed two players, and he was walking like this with two guys holding his arms up, and as he limped off the court. And so if I had to wager this is a pure guess based on what I saw Tuesday, and no one's told me nothing, I would say Shavers for sure out. and I guess I shouldn't say for sure. I don't know that. I would guess that Shaver doesn't play, and I would think Najee Smith tries to play, but it wouldn't surprise me if both these guys miss this game tonight based on what I saw them walking off the court on Tuesday.
Man, that would be heartbreaking because this is the premier matchup in all of college basketball on a Friday night in early February. There is not a better matchup on paper than what we will see tonight at Viejas Arena between Boise.
Yeah, you go to that Ken Pom game ranking or whatever. It is literally the best matchup. I mean, and it's not saying a lot. There's usually not a lot of games on Friday nights, but I
mean, this would still even hold up on a Saturday, probably. It might not be the best, but it would be one of the best.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So these are the two premier programs over the last couple of years in the Mountain West that are going to be going at it, and there's a little bit riding on the line if you're San Diego State, right? Like, I think Boise State's playing with a little bit of house money in the sense that they expect to win. Let's get that clear. But like, if you want to talk about like rankings and metrics and stuff like that, they're not necessarily expected to win this game. And even if they were to drop it, it's not going to really hurt them that much, right? But if you're San Diego State, you have to defend your home court. You have to continue to, on a bigger scale or bigger picture here, you also have to continue to remind people that you are the perennial power in the Mountain West Conference, because last year, Boise State got you 3 times. One of them helped secure a regular season title, and the last of which helped them win the Mountain West tournament title. And so if you're San Diego State, I mean, we've talked about this before a little bit, BJ, like this is almost the opposite of football when it comes to Boise State, San Diego State. San Diego State for a long time now has kind of been on the come up, and I know they didn't have a great year this last year, but I think we can all admit that they've definitely challenged Boise State in the Mountain West when it comes to football lately. And now you're kind of seeing the other side of it in basketball, where the top dog is might not be the top dog anymore, and this is their game to try to prove it if they're San Diego State. So there's a lot on the line, I think, in this game. It's not just your average Mountain West Conference regular season game. There's a lot at stake here.
Yeah, and it's probably similar to the New Mexico game for Boise State, where, like you said, there's not a ton that you lose, but there's so much to gain if Boise State's able to find a way to win this, whether it's just the quad one, I think, most importantly, I think these guys, like Leon, really wants to win the league. I mean, they really want to be back-to-back Mountain West champions, and everyone else is talking about the tournament, the seeding, and all that. I think some people forget, like, there's a conference title you're going for too, and like I think that's a big deal to them trying to do that. And so I think obviously this game tonight would put you a game up, sole possession, with them having to still come back to Boise. So you can't lose the head-to-head tiebreaker against San Diego State. I guess it could go down a little bit further if there's a number of ties or something like that. But like, at least you can't lose it straight up to San Diego State if you get the one tonight at Viejas. So but I mean, you'll be a game up. You'll be a game up, and they come to your place still. And I think there's more. Yeah, like I said, if you lose the game tonight, especially if you're without a couple of starters, it's like, just hope you don't fall too far in the rankings. It's not a huge deal, but you do fall a game back into second place, and but you have them coming back to your place. So I do agree that there's more there's more to lose for San Diego State in terms of trying to hold home serve. They've already lost at home once to New Mexico. They still have to go to New Mexico and to Utah State and to Boise State. They've still got 3 of maybe the hardest road trips left in the league. So they can't be losing home games at all. This game would put Boise State, I think, in the clear driver's seat to win the conference if they win tonight.
I agree with that. I wanted to bring up one more quick stat too. You look at combined wins against Mountain West teams, over the last 2 years, and Boise State checks in with a conference best 26. San Diego State's behind them with 23. 3 wins in college basketball. That's a pretty sizable lead when you consider there's only so many conference games to play, and that's a pretty big total for Boise State. 26-5 in Mountain West play or against Mountain West teams over the last 2 years. So that's really, really impressive. But I agree with you. I mean, this really puts Boise State in a great spot if they can somehow go down, scrap together a win. And the interesting thing about this, BJ, is that the line on this game opened at 7. So that's why it's crazy how people in Vegas find out things or can anticipate things, or I don't know what they do, but that would suggest actually, I think you tweeted this. That would suggest that maybe they're really wondering about the availability of Shaver and Naj tonight.
Or they know. Yeah, I mean, or they know.
Or they know.
I'm in the
I will
hotel.
say-
I'm in the hotel. I've bumped into the coaches, all this stuff. Like, they're not saying a word. It's like to someone like, if they're not telling us who's around the team all the time,
Yeah.
they're the ones not going and telling gamblers or whoever else. So it's just so crazy that they. But that's when those weird lines come out. I mean, it wouldn't shock. That's why it wouldn't shock me if both those guys were out tonight when I saw that.
And here,
Ken Palm lines, what, 2, 3?
Yeah. Well, and I'll go one step further of why that line. So just check this morning. It's down to 5.5.
Okay.
I mean, at least that's, Vegas Insider or covers.
I just found out this morning my Ken Palm subscription, the year's over and I have to renew after the show, so I can't get on there and click. But what is this Ken line? I think it was 2 or 3, right?
Okay. Yeah, I think you're right on that. I don't have it right up now either.
66 if I looked yesterday. Rudy wants to know if we're still considered Boise media fanboys, or was that just a one-year distinction?
I haven't heard that in a while.
Actually did talk to the Colorado State radio guy briefly at the game the other day. Have to control Bradley. Colin Mitchell is here, by the way. Just landed in San Diego.
Colin.
So we'll have double barrel action for Bronco Nation News for tonight's game. We brought Colin down on this trip, so glad you made it safely, Colin. And he was on Alaska, so nice job, Alaska Airlines, getting down here. So
I want to get back to this spread before I forget about this point, though, BJ.
Colin J doesn't care about you. He wants to move on. So
no, Colin, I'm so happy you're safe in San Diego, brother. You work so hard. We love you. Okay, back to the point spread.
Yes.
He really does, though, by the way. 7 points. Like, that shocked me because Boise State has not lost a Mountain West game by more than 7 points in the last 2 years. You got to go back to what is it? You go back to, like, I think it was like February of 2021. So yeah, it's like 2 years since they've lost a Mountain West game by more than 7 points. And in that span they've lost by 2 in overtime, 3 in overtime, and then by 7 at Wyoming. So to have a line that big that's pretty shocking because Boise State is in just about every single game this season. And on top of that, they've kind of exceeded expectations, I would say, so far this season. Last I checked, they're 14-7-1 against the spread, and that's
teams win, great teams cover.
Yeah, kind of true though. I mean, 14-7-1 in like the real world, you're like, that's okay, but against the line, I mean, that is an incredibly high batting average.
Boise State every game then against the spread, you'd be making some serious money.
You'd be making a lot of money. So that's really, really impressive on their part. And on the flip side of that, San Diego State, I can't remember exactly off the top of my head, but they're definitely under 500 against the spread. So, again, they kind of have the expectations and whatever at the end of the day. They just want to win games. But I think that does kind of show you who's overachieving, who's underachieving. Not underachieving, but just I think that gives you a little bit of an idea of what's going on right now.
Sam says it opened at +7 because Vegas knows about the injuries, moved to 5.5 because people don't know about the injuries in terms of, how's that spread 7 points? Oh, my gosh, and But we'll
I don't know.
See.
We know about the injuries, and that was our take.
Well, I do want to.
I don't know if BJ lost a little bit of Wi-Fi signal, but we're going to try to keep this rolling here until he can get back on and figure things out. But I think that, one thing about this matchup that really is kind of cool is kind of the evolution of these two teams. And, over these last couple of years, San Diego State was such a good defensive team. And I still think that they kind of have that in them, but they're also much more gifted when it comes to their offensive production right now and offensive efficiency more than anything. And so that's what kind of makes San Diego State, I would say, a little bit more scary. I've been trying to carry this, bud. That's what makes San Diego State a little bit more scary, I would say. I was just talking to BJ about kind of San Diego State, how they become more efficient offensively, more explosive offensively. They're deeper than they have been in the past too, I would say. One thing that I think to keep an eye on in this game, BJ, is production off the bench. And, when it comes to San Diego State, they run 3 dudes out there that are all averaging over 7 points per game off their bench. That's an average just between that trio. And I know it can fluctuate on any given night, but 21 points off your bench between 3 guys. In comparison, I mean, Jace Whiting's averaging like 3.5, Lucas Milner like 2.5. Pavley's been a little up and down, but he's like 2.5. So, I mean, that's something, especially when you consider Boise State's health status right now is a little bit of a cause for concern, I would say.
Well, as before I got the internet died on me there, I was going to say I wanted to quickly thank a couple of our sponsors, but I did want to talk about if Shaver and Smith cannot play, who's what's this going to look like? Who needs to step up? Because Max Rice was playing the power forward spot at the end of that Air Force game. So I wanted to touch on that real quick, and then I also wanted to get your update on the net rankings, Jay, because I know there was some movement that benefited Boise State with a couple of teams last night. So we'll do both those things real quick. But first, do want to tell folks about Cutwater Spirits. More than 30 flavors of pre-mixed premium cocktails. Pick one up at your local gas station or grocery store. Perfect for the grab a couple and watch the game tonight. To be perfect. I love the Mai Tai. The Mai Tai is one of the favorite right now. If you're looking to do some painting, BNN15 is that promo code. BNN15. You get 15% off the interior painting of your home if you use that promo code there at BNN15. Lithia Ford of Boise as well. Make sure you check them out. Appreciate what they're doing with Bronco Nation News, what they did for the Reigns family, and they're buying used cars right now. Even if you don't buy from them, which is crazy, they will buy your used cars. I was in there talking to Jim Stork the other day, and they bought 3. And so, by the way, I know I think I mentioned it the other day, but congratulations to Paige Barsh on her NIL deal with Lithia Ford as well. Women's volleyball player, got a nice Bronco Sport that she gets to drive around for a year. So pretty cool, and nice job by Lithia Ford for doing that as well. And Idaho Central Credit Union, I want to mention them. Our road trip coverage brought to you by Idaho Central Credit Union. They help pay for the road trip coverage for Colin and I to be down here at games like this. So thank you to Idaho Central Credit Union, and make sure you check them out, iccu.com, and find a location near you. There's one pretty much on every corner. Jay, I know South
Dakota State.
Yeah, but let's start with let's do the net rankings, and we'll come back and finish up with a little bit of a preview of the game tonight. But I know South Dakota State made a nice jump. What are the net rankings looking like for folks that haven't seen them here?
Yeah, so South Dakota State back to knocking on the door of pushing that game into a better quadrant.
Which is crazy. State. Like a week ago or a couple days ago, they went down to 178, and I thought,
right.
Well, that dream's over.
Yeah, to be honest with you, BJ, probably the most surprising thing about it is like they won by 1 at net 248 Kansas City, and then yesterday they won by 23 at home against net 320. Somehow that catapulted them about 10 spots or so in the net rankings, and right now they're at 162, which we all know, but we love talking about this stuff. Sorry if it's minutia that some of you don't care about, but we love numbers in basketball. So if they can somehow work their way up into the top 160, then Boise State's really only damning loss on their March Madness resume would evaporate. They have that quad 4 loss to South Dakota State. So if somehow another SDSU from another part of the country can climb into the top 160, that would be really, really good for Boise State. I will say this, one surprising thing, UNLV dropped a little bit last night. I don't really know why. They're on a 3-game winning streak right now. If you look at their road ahead, they have a chance to push that winning streak to 5 or 6 pretty, expectedly, I would say. And so they dropped down to 74, which Boise State needs them in the top 75.
Lost 5 spots.
Yeah, and that's kind of a big drop for not playing. But obviously it shows you kind of how close things might be there. So if they get a win over the weekend, maybe they shoot back up a little bit. But Boise State wants them in the top 75 to preserve that quad 1 victory that's currently on
Utah Valley as well is up to number 80. If they can get to top 75, that'd be quad 2.
Yep.
So it was at one point. It's kind of been going back and forth, but they need Utah Valley. That would be another quad 2 win, which would be nice for them. A couple of the other ones aren't going to do anything for them. Washington State obviously is not going to get high enough. You need Texas A&M too to hang on. They're number 48 right now. You need them to stay top 50, so that can be a quad 1 win. You got New Mexico at 37. You got Utah State at 32. I guess that's one to look if Utah State can get 2 spots higher. And then you got another one of those scenarios tonight. Well, I guess it won't matter tonight because Boise State's on the road. Even if they beat San Diego State, they wouldn't fall below 75. They would just fall below 30.
There was somebody that asked us, BJ, about that quad 1A status and quad 1B.
My tax guy, Dayton Robinson.
Dayton, what up, Dayton? And I kind of thought that was silly at first, but I got to thinking about it, and actually that's like a really good way to probably break down Boise State's resume because they do have so many like wins at the top of quad 2, right?
Yeah, they do.
So like that actually isn't a bad way to show it. I think when you look at the big
I'd never heard of that.
I hadn't really either, but when you look at it like the big picture, you're just like, oh, they have 5 quad 2 wins, which is okay, that's all right, but so many of them are like right at the top of the quad two, like ready to burst through, and two already have. We just talked about them in UNLV and Texas A&M. Now, can those quad one wins stay there? We'll see, but they have so many like of those potential, quad 2A type of wins.
So Washington State is they're 10-14 on the season. They're number 73 in the country. Mm-hmm. We'll say Dayton is number 72. They're okay. Wake Forest is 14-10. They're 75. What you're essentially saying with the quad system, Jay, as you know, is going to, winning, against Washington State or Dayton or Marshall on the road is equivalent to beating Tennessee or Alabama at home. And those, probably aren't. I don't think that's the same quality of win, beating Alabama at home or winning on the road against Marshall. I mean, those shouldn't count both as quad one, I guess.
Right. I kind of agree with that.
Because it's top 75. So you go on the road to Marshall. There's 7. I mean, UNLV is 70. 73 or whatever. 70. I mean, it's
definitely tougher to go on the road than win at home, obviously. But sometimes it seems like the gap is almost a little too much. Yeah. It almost seems like a little too much. But
any other quad stuff real quick, Jay? You do need San Diego State's 28, but this is a road game, so all they have to do is stay top 75. So this is definitely going to stay a quad one game the whole season.
And that's why earlier in the week I said like maybe Utah State knocking off San Diego State was for the best because
they played New Mexico.
Is that right?
Utah State played New Mexico.
Oh, okay. Correct. Yeah. But that's why I said that because again, generally if the home team wins, it's not going to necessarily penalize the road team. So in all of those types of matchups outside of Boise State, if you're a Boise State fan, obviously, you probably kind of want the home team to defend their home court.
Oh, yeah. And that was better for the league, too, I think, to have a chance to get 4 to 5 teams in with Utah State getting that win last night.
Yeah, man.
Or the other night.
I certainly hope the Mountain West starts to get their due because the league has been really, really good this year. And, I mean, like their average net ranking as an entire league is 90. That's like 20 – I think that's 23 spots ahead of where it was, last year, which is a pretty massive jump. I mean, that's an average. So you have that basically means that every team is 23 spots higher in the net ranking than they were last year. I mean, that's a pretty solid jump for a conference in just one year. And last year was the best year since the net came out, prior to the 2018-19 season, I think. So the league's been really good this year. It's been fun basketball to watch too, highly competitive. You wonder why life on the road is so difficult in the Mountain West. Your boy Jeff Grammer kind of put out a tweet yesterday.
It's so difficult.
I know, exactly. Your boy Jeff Grammer put out a tweet yesterday, and we look at the net rankings every single freaking day, BJ, but I don't know why something struck me about when he just kind of listed the Mountain West teams in the net rankings, and you look at where everyone is at, and if you go out on the road, more often than not, you're going to play a quad one game. There are no quad 4 games when it comes to life on the road in the Mountain West, and usually in the past, you could count on a cakewalk at San Jose State and probably even Air Force. But even those games are not quad 4 games this year. Heck, San Diego State's a quad 2 game going there. Or San Jose State is a quad 2 game going there. So life on the road is difficult in the Mountain West. And if you can really pick one off, pick off a road game this year, it has tremendous value when it comes to potentially winning a Mountain West Conference title.
I know that's a couple of games away, a couple of weeks away, but that San Jose State game, you mentioned quad 2. They only beat them by 3 in Boise. That could be a sneaky
it's not going to be an easy game. It won't be. So we'll see if Boise State can take care of business tonight. As we wrap this up, I want to talk about Matt Bradley real quick.
Yeah, I'll bring it back to Bradley in 1 second. I got to give my final 3 sponsors a shout out here. BoiseDentistryCo.com. Check them out if you're looking for a new dentist. Look no further than Dr. Miner and his staff. They do a tremendous job. Full family dentistry. Check them out, BoiseDentistryCo.com. United Commercial Insurance. They make business insurance easy. They can write business policy insurance in 44 states around the country. Get more information at UnitedCommercialInsurance.com. Ridley's Family Markets. Go download that Ridley's app. ShopRidleys.com. Find a location near you. There's 13 in the state of Idaho. Go download the app. Get some exclusive savings in your Apple Store or Google Play. The Blue and Orange Store, if you're looking for new Boise State gear, free shipping. Any order over $40. That's right. Any order over $40, you get free shipping go get that gear for the upcoming home games. Wyoming game next Saturday, some other games coming up. Get your gear, Boise State gear, at the Blue and Orange store. Matt Bauscher, Bauscher Real Estate, the #1 ranked realtor in the Treasure Valley is Matt Bauscher. No home is too big or too small. Check them out, BauscherRealEstate.com. And if you're looking for a new job, how about Transportation Compliance Service? TCS, they can help you out and get you in the trucking industry every step of the way. If you're looking to get a new job, look no further. The trucking industry, transcompservice.com. And Jay, I announced it yesterday, but we are back for year 2 of the Bronco Nation News Golf Tournament, hoping that we can get Jay Tust to play again this year. Maybe we'll do a little more of a celebrity, first tee shot or long drive. Got some ideas for some things now for year 2. But Jay, June 2nd, the same Friday. See you in a couple of photos there. That was fun. So hopefully you'll be back June 2nd for the second annual.
Man, don't put me with the Atkinsons again. Those guys were zero fun.
We're gonna mix it up a little bit. Yeah, we'll mix it up a little bit. And I believe either next Tuesday, maybe on our show, or next Wednesday, we are going to have Justin Schultz on to preview the softball season next year, or because they start next weekend and there's no game next week. So it's either going to be Tuesday or Wednesday of next week that I'm doing that. But yeah, we'll have a little bit of fun with Coach Schultz. But okay, sorry, I told you we'd go 20 minutes. We're at 26.
Hold on, I want to say this real quick though. I'm kidding about the Atkinsons. I would never tell this to their face. I would never say this to their face. If I do get paired with them, I'm probably just going to leave my clubs at home, BJ, because those guys are dialed. They are good.
Atkinson's Mirror and Glass, man. They came. They had maybe this year if you play with them, they'll bring you a company polo shirt like their whole team was wearing those shirts, and you looked out of place there. But
you're part of the family for a day. We'll see.
But, okay, sorry, I already kept you longer than I told you would because we started late, so I apologize. But as we wrap this up, just your thoughts on this game, well, Bradley, and then, for Boise State, if Shaver and Smith are not able to go, I mean, we've talked a lot about the bench. I think Mo Silla plays tonight because I think he has to guard Mensah some. I think this could be a game for Sada and Ganga to maybe get some minutes. Pavle is probably, Pavle played 26 minutes against Air Force. He's probably going to get a lot of time tonight. Jace Whiting, you would assume, just starts at the point. Where do they go to if those guys cannot play, and then you wanted to touch on Bradley too?
Yeah, I think when it comes to San Diego State, BJ, like kind of back in the day, they really frustrated you with how good they were on defense. They were long, they were athletic. Now, as we mentioned a little bit earlier, though, they can get out and score a little bit. One area where Boise State has struggled a little bit this year is dealing with full court pressure. And so I'm interested to see if the Aztecs throw some of that at them tonight, especially if your primary ball handler like Marcus Shaver Jr. can't necessarily go. And at times, even, in that last game or 2 games ago against Colorado State, even Naj was kind of bringing it up at times to help kind of break that pressure. So it'll be interesting to see how they combat that. I know Leon was very brief answering the question the other day.
No, Brady got
it was probably the shortest answer of the season for Leon Rice. No, we fixed it. We got it fixed last game. I think my paraphrase or my whatever, trying to recall what Leon said was longer than what he actually said. It was a very, very brief answer from Leon. So we'll see. I mean, they got to go out and kind of prove that they can handle that if that's what San Diego State decides to throw at them. I think if Boise State's starting 5 is healthy, BJ, the Boise State starting 5 is better than San Diego State's starting 5. I think that they're at the very least, I think that anybody would have a tough time arguing that Boise State starting 5 isn't more consistent than San Diego State starting 5. But the Aztecs bench worries me a little bit because they do bring some offensive power off their bench. Another area that is intriguing to me, or a player that's intriguing to me, is Matt Bradley. Man, just for a second, how fun was it to watch Abu Kijab guard Matt Bradley at times last year? I mean, that was awesome basketball.
Yep.
It makes you miss Abu. I get goosebumps, man, because what's that?
Fun to watch them both shoot free throws at the end of that the game as well. Remember, Bradley missed 2.
Bradley missed.
Kijab makes the 2.
And Kijab made him. Kijab didn't touch the freaking rim when he was at the line. It was all net. But, I mean, those are like those moments, like I said, like that gives you the goosebumps because that is just college basketball at its finest. Your best against their best. And in last year's matchups, Boise State's best won out in that matchup. When it comes to Bradley, let's not, don't mistake last year he's a good player. He is a really, really good player. He can score. He's a lefty, so he's a little awkward. But I will say this. He got off to a great start shooting it this season, and now his percentages have taken kind of a big dip, especially in the month of January when Mountain West Conference play is cranked up. And, in January, he shot 37% overall. His three-point percentage dipped down to 33%. He was up over 43%. And so he hasn't necessarily been shooting it extremely well lately. Hasn't been getting to the free throw line as much as maybe he has in the past lately either. So I'm really interested to see how Boise State attacks him. I'm sure that Mike Burns has something in his bag of tools that's going to frustrate and try to limit Bradley. Is it going to be enough to stop, one of the more dynamic scorers in the Mountain West Conference?
All 3 games last year came down to the wire. You just hope, I guess, for Boise State's sake, too, they don't call a lot of fouls tonight. Foul trouble, if you're already without guys, probably would not be good for Boise State. So you hope it's a little bit of a physical kind of just man-on-man kind of game here.
Yeah, I agree with you. And we saw that, there was a couple over the weekend when was San Diego State. Yeah, San Diego State went to Utah State or Nevada. And, usually in these road games, man, it's tough to shoot more free throws than the home team. And at the end of the day, it can make a pretty big difference. And I think the game I actually am thinking about too is New Mexico and Utah State. Utah State shot 31 free throws and New Mexico shot 16.
Life on the road in the Mountain West yet again. and this, as we wrap it up, I mean, this is true. I think, Jordan mentioned how they saw him last year after the game and they've, how down they were and how they probably circled this game for a while. And you would think losing, it doesn't happen very often where San Diego State loses, twice in a season to somebody, let alone 3 times on their home court at the buzzer on the Mountain West Championship game where the ball just, they had 2 chances in the final 10 seconds. So, yeah, I would suspect that Viejas is going to be rocking tonight. The fans didn't forget about that. And we'll see, Jay. Should be a fun one. They're going to be up against it. Apologize for starting late and going long, but we didn't have a show Tuesday, so I guess we'll just call it good. And you did get paid for this month, right? Did you get your Venmo or your payment for February?
You might want to send it again.
Are you being My wife is our CFO, I like to say, so she's the one that handles all the money.
It actually surprised me. I woke up and I was like, "Oh wow!" On February 1st, I was like, "I forgot it's February 1st." She does it like 6 in the morning when she's right on top of it. She's like, "Oh, how much do we pay to get everybody again?" I'm like, "Oh, all right, it is payday. That's right." So, but Jay, appreciate you as always, man. Sorry we went long. I took your time up, but big game tonight. I can't freaking wait. BJ, it's gonna be awesome.
It's a big game. It is a big game. Luckily, it's 7:00 Mountain Time, not super late. 6:00 here in San Diego. So we'll have coverage throughout the day. Bronco Nation News Live. I know you guys will have it covered on KTVB tonight as well. Probably be able to show some highlights at 10:00 with a 9:00 finish to the game here. So 7:00. This is a Fox Sports 1 game. And Jay, I'm embarrassed for Fox Sports 1 to admit this. The game of the year in the Mountain West, their announcers will not be at the Viejas Arena tonight. As a broadcaster, you probably would have way more to say about that than me. I know we're already over our time, but Alex Faust, I believe Casey Jacobson will be in a studio somewhere in the Los Angeles area. Couldn't even make the 2-hour drive down, I think, from their studios for the game, I believe. I actually don't know for sure if they're in LA, but I know my understanding is they will not be at the game tonight. No announcement.
I know it's probably not those guys' decision, but this is a game you need to be at to feel the energy. That's unfortunate.
Yep. Well, Jay, appreciate it. We'll be watching KTVB, be reading your guys' stuff online as well. And would this win get them in the top 25? Is this enough that Boise State could be top 20?
I don't know how it doesn't. Because a Mountain West team deserves to be in the top 25. At least one right now. And if Boise State wins, they'll be in first place with a win over San Diego State.
Yeah.
San Diego State might slip out. It seems like Boise State would be the obvious team to jump in.
Well, appreciate it, Jay, as always. Thanks, everybody, for checking us out. Again, sorry we started late, but have a great rest of your Friday. We'll be live with the Lithia Florida Boise pregame show around 6:00 Mountain Time from Viejas Arena. We'll get you set, and then, as I said, we'll have the postgame show. You can watch the highlights on KTVB as well. So all over the local airwaves, we'll have you covered. So have a great day. Might go check out the beach a little bit, Jay. We'll talk to you this evening. Try not to get too sunburned before the pregame show. Bronco Nation News Live. Bronco